Correspondent Dan Whitehead, who you saw in that report, and he's been following developments. Dan, a very good evening to you. I guess Jeremy Corbyn is happy and positive that he's been given this mandate to lead his party going forward over the weekend.
Yes, I think the task that Jeremy Corbyn has of uniting the Labour Party is a slightly easier one now, having, as you say, gained that second mandate. 2 times in a year, the leader of the opposition party here in the UK has had an overwhelming victory, and in fact on Saturday, when the members voted him as the leader yet again after that vote of no confidence by the members, he got an even bigger majority. So Jeremy Corbyn gave a far more confident speech today as leader and says, look, let's wipe the slate clean. He was talking directly to many of the former shadow cabinet members who left his front bench over the summer in that vote of no confidence. It was embarrassing scenes in the House of Commons with Jeremy Corbyn having huge gaps on the front bench as he spoke to Theresa May, the Prime Minister, across the House of Commons. He's saying, let's wipe the slate clean, let's start again. You've got to get behind me because more than 60% of the Labour Party membership have backed me and they want this change in politics. However, it's very different. It's a very different thing to have the paid up Labour Party members backing you and giving you a big round of applause compared to the wider Labour electorate. And according to polls, as you heard in my report there, many of them actually don't believe he could become the Prime Minister.
It's you know, when I watch him, I get a sense that I've seen this character before, and Bernie Sanders comes to mind. It's like this new kind of politics and this socialism. Are there comparisons there, and is that what's resonating with the party faithful?
It's interesting times, isn't it? Because we're seeing these patterns around the world. Bernie Sanders and Jeremy Corbyn had talked about each other when Bernie Sanders was still in contention over in the US. We've seen other parties in Europe, more socialist left-wing parties, which are starting to rise. Ironically, you're seeing the far right-wing as well. And we see Donald Trump, of course, and Le Pen in France rising as well. So extremes on both sides of the political spectrum across the world seem to be rising and gaining resonance. So there is a similarity between the two. It depends. It's really the establishment and the anti-establishment, and it really depends on which way this will go. But one thing is for certain: Jeremy Corbyn now will not. It's unlikely face another vote in no confidence, because the way the party works is that if you're a paid-up member and you vote for it, they are calling for change. They want something different. So the real test will be a general election. And Jeremy Corbyn said in his closing speech today that the party should be preparing for a 2017 general election. And now Theresa May has ruled that out. However, she may well change her mind, because at the minute the Conservatives and Theresa May are way ahead in the polls. She may say, right, let's call an election. That gives me a fresh 5-year mandate and we can move on forward. And that, of course, then will force Jeremy Corbyn, if he loses, to perhaps step down, which many of his own party members still want.
So here in South Africa, a lot of the labour unions seem to be quite happy with the results for Jeremy Corbyn, and I just wonder if Labour is going to become a real workers' party going forward. Is this the hints that we're getting from this new Corbyn thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he reverted back to a lot of the old union lines, and he played to a lot of the union leaders within his speech here, welcoming back the Fire Brigades Union, talking about privatisation of the railways, and a 21st socialist party is how he put it, really slamming down the elitist Tories, as he called them, for the privileged few. So he's bringing back a lot of those old Labour policies, those ideologies. However, you know, it remains to be seen whether or not the wider electorate will back that. It's a real move away, of course, from what we had in New Labour with Tony Blair, a complete opposite end of the spectrum, and there's no love lost between those two Labour leaders. But the real test will come during the election, and what Jeremy Corbyn now faces is that challenge to bring together that front bench. He says that a lot of those people who left the shadow cabinet when it was at this lowest point in the summer are now calling and texting him, potentially looking to come back into the fold, realising, look, we've got to back this man because the party is at such a low division, so split. We've got to come together, we've got to unify, because that's the only way that we're going to have any chance of fighting the Tories. And the Tories, the Conservative Party, have got a massive battle on their hands, because Theresa May, as I said in my report, will be defined by Brexit. That's all she's going to be dominated with over the next couple of years, 2 to 3 years at least. So it's opportunity for Jeremy Corbyn, while in opposition, to focus on other areas, those socialist areas, workers' rights, building new homes, privatisation, services, the NHS, healthcare. And so that is essentially what he's going to be focusing on, while Theresa May goes through that tough battle of sorting out Brexit.
All right, so that's where we're going to leave it. Dan, thank you very much indeed for that update. That was our correspondent, Dan Whitehead, talking to us live from London.